God's hands aren't tied. He could use someone else to save his people, but think how great it would be if God used you. You get the intent of what I'm reading here to you. The intent of all of that is God can use you. Can he find someone else? Yes, he can. His hands aren't tied, but he wants you. Isn't that amazing? I look at you. He wants every individual one of here. This explains, for such a time as this very moment that you're here. Part of the mysteries and divine working of God is we don't know how and when the purposes of our lives will be manifested. I called my aunt, who's the mother of this cousin of mine that was killed in the automobile accident. She's turning 99 this year. Well, she's distraught, of course. She said, how could I outlive, my daughter? It shouldn't be that way. She's a good Christian lady. Teaches Sunday school. She's so feisty. You wouldn't believe she was a farmer. She worked on a farm. Her husband was a farmer, and she did all the farmer's wife things. I mean, she was strong and she taught me how to drive a car. I mean, she was just absolutely crazy. So I called her up on the phone. I said, hey, Corrine, how are you doing? And she said, well, I've had some good days and bad days. And we talked for about an hour. And I said, I was about ready to hang up. She said, well, Bobby? Bobby? I'm still Bobby. I'm 100 years old, but I'm still Bobby. She said, well, Bobby? She said, you just made my day calling me. That was a purpose for me at that time. I could have, I'll call her later. No, there's no later. You do now. God has a purpose for you now. So, when I don't want to demand rights we already hold and possess, when I'm tired of listening to intolerance and hatred that's all around us, when I feel powerless as a part of a system I sometimes may not agree with, I'm compelled to remember this. Today could be the day. My influence could spark a catalyst of change from the smallest remarks to the boldest actions that we can take. I cannot believe Esther's life was isolated. The theme is standing up for righteousness, and it's threaded throughout human history. What if Moses never stood before Pharaoh? You remember Moses? Who am I that I can... How old was Moses when he died? His life was divided into 3 segments. I've taught you all this before. You should have remembered it. Verse 40, he was in Egypt with the best camels and houses. Next 40, he was down there learning in the wilderness. He went down there to escape. In the last 40, he was getting people out of Egypt. So 3 times 40 is... and what was that? All of that, he's up on the mountain of God. You know the story of Moses. Of course you do. Got the 10 Commandments, came down. And God told him what his job was to be now after 80-something years. After 80-something years, he finally found out his job. You know what it was? Go back to get the people out and talk to Pharaoh. What's the first thing he said? Well, I can't do that. I can't speak. What if Moses said, hey, I don't have the gift of tongue. I can't do that. God said, now's your time. You go and tell him I am sent you. Isn't that powerful? What if Moses said no? What if David never faced Goliath? Have you faced some Goliaths in your life? There's a great sermon on that too. Wow. There's 100 giants out there that you have to face. I've faced a few. Some of them have kicked me a little bit. But you still face them because they're there. And what if Queen Esther never walked into the king's court, finding out their purpose? Can I tell you this morning, you're here for such a time as this. We're told in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. People all around us are dying for the truth. That's why we're here, to pray, to bring life to where there is no life, where there is death. Today we see of death to the family. We see of death to eternity. People are falling away from church. Where there is a people of God, there are going to be enemies of God. You are where you are for such a time as this because God's people are in distress. God challenges our values. What's most important to you today? I've got something to do tomorrow that I hate. I agreed with this accrediting agency to review an entire university. I mean, it's kind of like a volunteer where they don't pay you much, and I think, why did I do this? It's going to take me 3 days to go through a mountain of documents to determine if they are of value as a university. I hate that stuff. Linda says, why did you accept it? I don't know. I said yes when the guy called, I guess. So I don't like doing those things. I get to do it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. I'm so happy about that. I think that's great. I know how to do it. That's the problem.